Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is the 25K subscriber, like it's officially happened. Like, oh my God, thank you video. And it's going to be kind of selfish. So, it's not exactly for you guys, but it kind of is. So, it's one of those things. I did ask in a poll, I was like, what do you guys want for 25K subs? This is kind of what you wanted. So, okay, let's do it. Yeah, so you're probably going to be able to, yeah, never mind. We're just going to talk about some of my projects. And I'm going to give you a little bit more background about me, not just the, kind of crazy gamer guy, and maybe some more background on the status of games and things like this. So, all right, let's start at the beginning. 3 years ago, and it's been a long 3 years, I decided that King of Avalon was a game that I saw a lot of people having bad social experiences, lots of toxic people. It's a Chinese company who really is only focused on profit, not necessarily player retention or creating positive, healthy, personal habits for people. It's basically like encouraging people to spend money and get smashed on by cheating Chinese. And I really wasn't okay with that. So I started to develop a game. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about this. You don't know exactly why it's not out yet. So I'll kind of give you the short version of it. In my Discord, I've talked about it a little bit more, so it's not necessarily a secret. It's just maybe not something I've posted on YouTube. So here we go. So my first game was an open world, procedurally generated RPG. I guess is the best way to describe it. So what that means is that you could run on the edge of the map for basically forever. There wasn't a fixed map. It wasn't like, like 2 fixed points and you can just like go to this one. So things would be kind of generated by the computer algorithm. And yeah, so I just wanted to be able to kind of like run an adventure forever and find and discover new things, because new things would be basically generated based on this algorithm. I don't know about you, but fighting unique monsters on an infinitely scrolling map with your friends sounded kind of cool to me. That was what I really wanted to make. And I started making it. And I got a lot of the server code done. Algorithms, terrain generation, lots of things. But I'd never made a game before. And the thing that I couldn't do within my budget, my time, my experience, all these things, was actually the art assets. Making different types of procedurally generated grass. Yeah, this was like not, I couldn't do it. I mean, it needed to be mobile, and I wanted to make it cross-platform and all these other different requirements, and I wasn't using like Unity assets. So I was using like a pure C++ platform, Cocos. So I'm getting a little bit more technical here than some people may care about, but some people will understand what I'm talking about. So, I was using a Cocos C++ based platform, and with that platform, the specific types of assets and stuff like that, it was just a real bugger. I couldn't find the artist to help me. So it was just like, okay, we can't necessarily make the first choice. So I kind of bailed on that. But I had a lot of code, and I took as much code as I could, and I rolled it into Space Revenge. So Space Revenge was more of a fixed kingdom. I call them solar systems. A little bit more similar to King of Avalon type of concept, and that, King of Avalon or Guns of Glory, you guys have kingdoms. You have some sort of, fixed size realm. So they were basically fixed size realms, and inside that realm, things were going to be procedurally generated based on a randomly selected salt. So each solar system would be a little bit unique, but they were fixed in size. So there would be an edge of a map that you couldn't basically, scroll forever. And this solved a couple of problems and made some things easier. That really wasn't the big thing. The big thing is that spaceships are more or less easy to create art assets for. I was able to recruit maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, or 5 art people that were able to, eventually come up with things that I thought that looked okay. And I felt that, if they didn't look okay, we could gradually improve them. But they weren't arms moving around. There wasn't, this one character from the RPG thing had a big butt. And when I asked the artist about it, I'm like, what's going on? And the artist was from Brazil. And well, in Brazil, people have big asses, so his the way that he imagined that characters should be, is they had a little bit of a more tush. And I mean, I laughed it off. It was just hilarious. But it was just one of those challenges. It was like, okay, how do you, you know, characters? I mean, like, human-like things or stuff like that. It's really, really difficult. For me, at least, it was. I'm no art director. I'm an engineer. I do highly analytical stuff. I'm just science and math. So art was like, oh man, like just pain in my butt. But the space stuff, I felt I could manage it, and I felt that Space Revenge, was going in a direction that I liked. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. We were developing the battle algorithm, which was one of the final pieces that were needed for you actually to play the game. Because I mean, like, you could log in, you could social, you could chat, you could fly around, like legit. Like, I could give it to you guys, and you could do a lot of these things, but two spaceships couldn't fight each other. And the whole point of a spaceship fighting each other game is people being able to fight each other. And so we were in the middle of that. And my dear friend and basically the lead developer who was helping me, he got COVID and he died. I posted on it before. You can go look at it. Man, it tore me up. I mean, I'd known the guy for years. He was just a brilliant, great engineer helping me. When he died, things started to stall in the game. I don't know, maybe because I was just COVID, whatever. But so progress started to stall in it. Another engineer went back to get his PhD, and at this point, basically the people who were helping me develop it were like gone. So that stalled. And you need money in order to replace people. And frankly speaking, I don't actually have enough money to hire a whole new team again. So I was, again, frankly speaking here, struggling in order to keep that development afloat. And some people might say, well, what about like a crowdsourcing? Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. I don't really have a lot of experience with it, not a lot of confidence with it. I felt it was just going to be a lot of time invested and maybe not necessarily a lot of return. Maybe I should do it. I don't know. So Space Revenge is like stalled for quite some time, as you guys know. And then I felt, okay, well, what did I build from Space Revenge and what did I build from the RPG game that can be useful? So underneath the hood, there's a bunch of social stuff. It's like a full social platform. And with Space Revenge and everything that I was building, there was also this companion social app and basically standalone social platform. And for that, this is where things get interesting. I had made like a version 1 of that. And then when it actually came to the performance of like people logging into it and chatting and things like that, it sucked. And I got really, really grumpy, and I spent probably 6 months trying to fix the performance of it. And the original framework was Vue 2. Okay, for whoever knows what I'm talking about, it was Vue 2. And people will be like, well, why you didn't use React or why you didn't use Angular? Well, Ascular is like just junk. Like, please, like, design principle wise, it's just trash. Please don't ever recommend Angular for me. It's not one of those things. React, maybe a little bit better, but lots of boilerplate, lots of spaghetti, and I don't actually think that the problems that we were having would have been fixed there, and they might have even been worse. So the concept of what I had built was there. The back end for what I had built was there. The front end for what I had built was not there. Let's introduce you to Vue 3. So Vue 3 is not, it's kind of me being a little bit naughty. So there's Vue 2 framework that you had. I didn't invent Vue 3. So Vue 3 at the time was called Vue Next. So I thought, I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to continue the naming convention of Vue Next or Vue 3. I didn't know, I didn't care. So I kind of hijacked it. I made Vue 3. And Vue 3, in my mind, solved a lot of the problems that Vue 2 had, building on some of the infrastructure for Vue Next. But Vue 2 is only like a component framework type thing. Vue 3, and what I've built, is basically everything. Oh no, we're getting airplanes. I don't know if you can hear them yet, but they're probably going to fly over here in a minute and disrupt this video. And it's also raining. Yeah. Here we go. Airplanes. And rain. I guess we're just getting to the suspenseful moment of this video. As soon as I say it's not so loud, it's going to get really loud and stupid. Maybe not. Okay, whatever. So Vue 3, what is Vue 3? Vue 3 solved nearly all of the performance problems I had with Vue 2. And I had a whole bunch of them, and they were really annoying. So one of the pieces of it, and this is really getting kind of nerdy here, so kind of bear with me. So one of the pieces for it was CSS and design. So anytime you design a front end, you have a choice. You can either roll your own CSS, or you can use a framework. And a framework is like, like Bloatstrap, or Tailwind, something like this. I tested all of them, and I ended up going with Bulma. And I ended up going with Bulma because we could do near optimal CSS tree shaking with it, which basically meant that there was two pieces that were kind of working together. When you build a website, you put stuff in it, be it text or components or layout or whatever it is that you put in it. And that stuff needs CSS, generally speaking. And so what happens is when you build a Vue 3 project, it will look at all of the components that you're using, cross-reference it to a little, mini database that we've built for the CSS features that it's using. So you got Bulma, which starts out actually quite big. Let's say it's 1 megabyte. And then if you only use one component, it'll basically say, oh, you're only using that one component, and that one component has this CSS things that it uses. So it will tree shake out basically everything except for absolutely what you need. And this was important to me. Why? Because rendering and layout and download times for a platform that potentially will be used by millions and tens of millions of people needs to be fast. And that was my goal. It was basically a fanatical level optimization for making the website fast, because what was there before was not fast. And you could have done it tediously or wrongly or rolled your own, but it's not really the direction I wanted to go. I really wanted to go with a CSS framework because it solves so many problems that, you face with every time you do a damn website. So the problem with frameworks is they're just big and bloated. So I solved that kind of problem. And then it goes even deeper in that, okay, well, what if you want theming? Well, then I introduced CSS variables, and there happened to be a Bulma fork that used CSS variables. So that kind of magically, worked out as well. So that was where we can have lots and lots of themes instead of just dark and light, which is in most websites, just a copy and paste of two different, big CSS files. So it just solved things. And then for icons, instead of going with web fonts, we went with basically a giant database of SVG. You pull in the component that you need, and that SVG gets inlined into the CSS, which can then be compressed. And I'm getting maybe way too technical for some people here. Bear with me. The story will continue. And the reason that I did all of this is because, well, CSS and text, generally speaking, compresses very well. Now, for the developers in this audience, you guys are going to be like, wait a second. Vue 3 upstream has this thing called, I think you pronounce it like Vite. Why you just didn't use that? Why are you doing all these optimizations and all this stuff when you could just toss in Vite and oh, airplane. Come on. Guest starring airplane. Okay, so you guys are gonna be like, why you didn't just use that? Well, it does hide latency, but it doesn't actually solve the problem. So what happens is you're gonna take 8 megabytes of bullshit, and then you basically break it into small pieces so that they're only downloading what they need. Now, I mean, that's cool. You can, deliver those through a CDN and it can be fast, and this can be one of the problems or one of the solutions. But my way of thinking is you take 8 megabytes of bullshit you remove the bullshit, you end up with, say, somewhere between 300 KB and 700 KB of stuff that compresses down to maybe 30 KB or 70 KB network transfer, and the problem is solved. That is the correct design. And I personally do not like to compromise on design or technology. I like to do correct things, right? Okay, cool. So we've got this out of the mind. I'm a fanatic. I have basically failed at writing a game, but I have created a web development platform for building shit. This is the end, of like, or this is the transition of the story. Great. So I'm out of money. I have built a framework. And what do you do with a framework? Well, you build shit. So let me show you some things that I've built. So this one is, I bring it live sometimes, and it's kind of a secret. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it does, but I will tell you that it is interesting and that certain people will be able to play with this sometimes. So this is kind of a mystery, but hey, you can register, you can sign up, and you can get an empty screen. And if I like you, I'll enable access to it for you. So welcome to KVK Farm. It is built on Vue 3. Let me show you the next one. Okay, so the next one is something that I started a couple of months ago. So I made a post about working with a friend to develop a CRM. And here's where things get selfish today. So I would like anybody in the audience who uses a CRM or is interested to basically use this platform to kind of give me, a heads up. I'll drop a link below to some of this stuff so you guys can go look at it. You can check it out, whatever. But yeah, so here's the deal. It's not done. But there are a bunch of things that are done. And at some point this week, I'm going to open up this website so that you can register. And there's going to be like let's just call it an alpha or maybe even a pre-alpha version of you to like log in, play with stuff and all sorts of things. And, I'm obviously on a mobile phone recording this. On a desktop, it'll probably be a little bit better. We will probably be releasing a mobile app version of it in the near future, assuming the development continues. But yeah, selfishly, I need anybody who's using Salesforce or Zoho or any of these other CRMs to kind of hit me up. Because like the first, let's say 400 or 500 seats, I'm going to give you guys a sweetheart deal. And it's kind of a win-win. And by this, I mean, well, you guys are going to get a sweetheart deal on a CRM made by somebody who fanatically loves and builds great technology. And I'm going to get people who pay money and help support the development costs so that we can continue to improve the product. So, yeah. But it's going to be opening like maybe this week. I'll probably throw a login, or sign up page today-ish, maybe late today. So I'm going to post this now. You guys are going to wake up and have this. And yeah, so this is what we get for 25K subs. You guys get to hear a little bit of, update on terms of the game development. You get to hear, more about me and my little, background adventures of what I've built, some current projects. Yeah. So hopefully this was interesting for you guys. So if you watched through the whole video, I'm not going to put any ads in this. I don't need to monetize this. This is for you. So there you go. We do have me and my editor and people helping me, have some very interesting content in the queue. Frankly, though, I've been so stressed out about trying to make money that it kind of distracts me from posting videos sometimes. So, projects like this, these aren't easy. I'm trying to develop a CRM that will work for, millions of users and maybe hundreds of millions of records. It's scalable and secure and things like that across, various different platforms. And it's just hard. So, focusing on A and B at the same time and then going into the game and making tools and videos and stuff like that, which, I do it for you guys. But I try to, make it as least overhead as possible. It's like open up the game, I show you what I need to do, and then, click, get it done. But anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much for 25K subs. And yeah, that's it. All right, bye-bye for now.